Peter Jackson's ambitious The Beatles, Get Back documentary series premiered on HBO in 2021. It had a total of 3 episodes, with 8 hours of footage showing how the Beatles' final album Let It Be was made. Much of Get Back's archival footage has been pulled and restored directly from Michael Lindsay Hogg's 1970 documentary about the album's making. Originally conceived as a feature film, The Beatles, Get Back is now dedicated to Hogg's original work, which forms the backbone of Jackson's poignant documentary. The documentary's final cut covers 21 days in the studio with the Beatles as they rehearse for a forthcoming album, concert, and film project that climaxes with their infamous full 42-minute rooftop concert on London's esteemed Savile Row. Though director Peter Jackson dispels many Beatles rumors regarding the infighting and tension that plagued the Beatles in 1969 and 1970, The Beatles, Get Back does not shy away from the public belief that Let It Be was marred by tensions between the band members, all of whom were between the ages 25 and 29 during this era of the band's history. John Lennon, 29 years old. Born on October 19, 1940, John Lennon was 29 when he recorded Let It Be alongside the other Beatles members. Lennon's focus when the Beatles, Get Back sessions were filmed had undoubtedly shifted away from creating music for the band, with his marriage to Yoko Ono and protests against the Vietnam War overshadowing his time working on Let It Be. This is perhaps why Lennon is often quoted as stating that he hated the album's title track. Lennon felt the lyrics of Let It Be were a message in direct opposition to his anti-war efforts and the band's usual style. After Lennon left the Beatles, he and Yoko Ono began writing more anti-war songs, the polar opposite of the Let It Be style. He released his first album with Ono in 1970, the same year this album was in the works. He then released 4 more albums, took a 5-year break to be with his family, and returned to music in 1980, only to be killed that same year. Paul McCartney, 27 years old. Paul McCartney playing bass guitar in Get Back. 2 years Lennon's junior, Paul McCartney was 27 years old at the time of recording Let It Be, making him the second youngest member of the Beatles. Footage of the then 27-year-old McCartney lecturing his fellow bandmates after a row during one of the Beatles' documentary sessions has become synonymous with the group's latter-year struggles as they came to terms with their changing individual ideologies. McCartney was also involved in a series of business disagreements with his bandmates during the Let It Be sessions. These disagreements eventually became one of the primary factors in the dissolution of the Beatles in 1971. However, the Beatles documentary ended up making McCartney look better than most of his bandmates, as it portrayed him as someone who fought hard to keep everyone on the same page and working toward the same goal.